everybody. So we got episode 3 in this new format. For those joining, I'm Darin Leonardson. I'm the president and CEO of Transform Culinary Solutions and Transform Culinary Kits. And we are featuring our Divine Wellness Kits, and we are on episode 3. And this is 5 secrets that make healthy food taste amazing. So, we talked a lot about healthy foods and all kinds of stuff, so we got to give you some pointers on how to make the food taste amazing here. So let's just kind of dive into this. So first off, I want to just start with the spiritual tie-in. And that is number 5, so we're kind of going backwards here. So we are stewards of flavor. Elevate food as an offering. I freaking love that. Like, personally, like, as a chef, I love that I can minister to people through food. And I like tying that in, realizing, like, if I can put my love and my effort, everything I'm doing into making great food so that you can experience the joy of that, to me, that's like serving to God, right? That is the offering, like as it says here. Like, that is my offering. I'm presenting that. I'm like taking care of his beautiful creations and people by doing what he gifted me with, of serving great food. And so if you cook at all, right, in the family, like, you have that job too. Like, you want to create great foods, and this is where I tell you, if you don't know how to cook, start to get involved. Like, start to learn, start to go through the process. Like, for me, like, to sear a perfect chicken breast, it probably took me like 50 times, like, and failing each time, and then realizing, what did I do wrong and how do I get better? And so, like, if you talk about failing and like improving, there is no better place than cooking, because there's so much elements to cooking that you can fail on so much. Like, and I still, as a chef, fail so many times. Like, my kids judge my food. In fact, I've allowed them to do that, because a lot of people are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want them to rate my food, and they rank it. And like, my son will be like, that was an 8, or that one was a miss. That was a 5.5, Dad. And like, I just kind of lock it in my head and be like, okay, what did I do wrong there? And I know kind of right off the bat. And so, like, the hook here to this episode is, if your broccoli tastes like sadness, then it's a technique problem. So we got to improve our techniques here. But let's go to the Bible here real quick. There's a couple verses here that I really like. So let's just do this one. Colossians 3:23. Colossians, and don't feel bad. I still have to go through and I have to find, where is Colossians? Colossians is 13:40 in my Bible. So 13:40. Once you know where it is, you can get to it pretty quick. Okay, Colossians. See, Colossians. Okay, 3:23. So chapter 3, verse 23. So whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not men, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Anyone who does wrong will be repaid for his wrong, and there is no favoritism. So I'm going to tell you right now, cook from the heart. Do it passionately. Like, put all your heart and soul in it, and it's okay to fail. Like, you'll learn and you'll get better, and people will love what you're doing. So let's talk about the 4 other chef secrets that you can incorporate into your cooking. Seasoning layers. So layers with food is so important. This is a secret that chefs do. So salt at different stages. So if you saw my episode 1, I talked about salting less and doing that final stage of the finishing after plating. So you can salt before roasting, you can salt in dressings, and you can salt after plating. I would say the most important one here is after plating, because it hits your taste buds. Acidity. So squeeze of lemon at the end boosts the perception of salt. So that combination, that we talked about, a salmon, when you're searing that, and then you've got the little speckles of salt, and then squeeze some fresh lemon, then that salt blends with the lemon, blends with the salmon, and you bite and you get that richness and that creaminess, and it's just absolutely delicious. Now I will add, sweet with salmon is really good. So if you can add some like honey, or even date syrup, those are things that are much better than like sprinkling it with heavy molasses laden brown sugar, which I'm telling you is good, but it's not good to put all of that sugar in your body. So I can attest that using some honey, and if you can find local honey, then you're adding some of the elements of what bees naturally go and they harvest, and why not put that on your fish? And date syrup is a really cool thing too. So dates are really good for your blood pressure and all that stuff, and so why not put some of that on there? So seasoning layers, those are just two basic things you could do. And I think we talked about earlier, to elevate that, you could do, flavored vinegars, right? So imagine using champagne vinegar or date balsamic vinegar. Like, there's so many different things you could do. And then salts, you can flavor those salts as well. And of course, kosher salt is my number one. It's my favorite. So cooking methods. So roasting versus boiling. So caramelization brings natural sugars to life. So like everything like has natural sugar. So, and caramelization begins at 330 degrees. So what that means is that if I have some item, like let's say it's carrots in the oven, and once the outside of the skin gets to 330 degrees, it will start to caramelize the natural sugar that's on the outside. And when you put caramel in your mouth, it's very much like a little bit of salt on the outside. It's the same thing. The sweetness goes in your taste buds and makes it go zing, and you just taste better. So like a roasted carrot with some caramelization on it is going to taste way better than a boiled carrot, right? Especially if you're not planning on putting salt or butter and coating it with all that. Just by itself, it'll absolutely taste way better roasted than boiled, right? So definitely roast your items to get and achieve more flavor. And I would also argue that you get more flavor and caramelization and color contrast. So like a carrot on the plate doesn't look as good as a caramelized carrot that will have hues of brown and roasted mixed in with the yellowish orange color. So it's a beautiful thing. So let's roast our vegetables. Now, searing your stuff. So you can sear carrots in a pan. You're still doing that. You don't have to roast it in the oven. And you can achieve caramelization from searing because the pan is like 500 degrees. And when it touches the carrot, you're going to start to caramelize. And in fact, you can caramelize the carrot, and I'm using that as an example because it's like showing you that you can do it with absolutely everything. You're going to get the caramelization just like you would a chicken breast or a piece of steak. So imagine if I just didn't sear a piece of steak and I just put it in the oven. I don't know if any of us have ever had that. Just put a New York steak in the oven and don't actually sear it. It is going to have no crust. It won't have that caramelization, that bite, that flavor. We all love that golden, like dark, like brown caramelization crust. Like when we dive into it, it just is, it creates a better flavor burst in your mouth to get the wonderful richness of the steak, and then that crunch on the top of the steak. Like, it's beautiful, and I can't imagine not searing the steak before I eat it. But you could do the same thing with all the other things to really bring out flavor. Now, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, get one. They're absolutely amazing. Definitely season that sucker. Put it in your oven at 450 degrees with some like canola oil or Crisco or something, and it bakes in that oil. And then you'll never have to wash that pan. You can literally just rinse it out, and nothing will ever stick on it. And it makes the best eggs, seared chicken, steak. It's just incredible. So get yourself some cast iron pans, and I'm sure they're going to pull them up here in a second. This is the best. So contrast and texture. So hot, cold, soft, crunchy, mix pickled onions with creamy lentils. Like, the hot cold combo is amazing. So like that's why a burger's so delicious, right? You bite into it, it's got that hot piece of meat with the melted cheese and a bright, crisp, cold tomato that's on it with lettuce. And we've all experienced where the burger's been wrapped and you get the lettuce that starts to brown and it's soggy and it's wet and it's warm. It's disgusting. You want the combination together, but to have their own cold and their own hot, right? So that combination is great. Anytime you can create contrast with hot and cold together, it's like when you watch Instagram reels and all of a sudden there's exciting things that keep you engaged and you don't scroll. Well, that's what you're doing with the plate of food, with the hot and cold, keeping you engaged with that food. You can use toasted nuts, seeds, crunchy things on the top of soft foods. So like on rice, right, you could have some roasted almonds where you get some caramelization and crunch, so it's like an almond rice pilaf. You can do sesame seeds on the top of pan-seared tuna, so you get the crunch that way. You could do coconut curls that you roasted in the oven and gotten brown, and it's on top of a smoothie bowl where you've got fresh berries and kiwis and maybe some chia seeds to add some wellness aspect to it too. So there's a lot of ways that you can do with foods that are healthy by doing these techniques of seasoning layers, cooking methods, and contrasting texture to take healthy things and make them much better. And that's why a lot of people are like, well, I don't have a chef, so I can't make and cook with healthy things. Well, these are some techniques that chefs do that you can do at home to make your healthier foods actually taste and be more exciting, which will help your family want to eat more of those well foods, and then you'll start to feel better and your family will love it too. And I'm going to add one thing to this too. Color garnishing and the foods, I've talked about it, the importance of primary food colors. So make sure you have red, please show red there, green, yellow. Yellow could be orange as well. So what about blue? Well, there's nothing in nature that's edible that's blue. Blueberries are purple. Like, prove me wrong, show me something that's edible in nature that's blue. I've not seen anything yet. Someone said there's a blue fish. But if you cook it, I bet you it would turn opaque. So by getting those colors on the plate, following these methods of seasoning layers, cooking method, contrast, texture, like you're gonna win, right? Because we, with our eyes, and if you see the reds, the greens, the yellows, we're gonna conceptually look at that and go, that looks good. That's why a burger tastes so good, is you have the yellow cheese, you have the red tomato, the green lettuce. Try it. Next time you go out to eat, look at what your friend is buying, and if you look at it and you're like, wow, that looks really good, it probably has the primary food colors in it and you can identify it. So start cooking like that. Start adding that color to your cuisine, and your friends and your family and your residents, everyone's going to love it, and they're going to love you, and they're going to love the food that you're cooking. So then the finishers, right? That's the last little bit. We talked about the salt, right? The little sprinkle. So you could use zest from citrus fruits. You could use fresh herbs like basil. You could use oregano. You could use tarragon, fresh mint on desserts. Like all that stuff adds a nice zing and pick-me-up flavor to your stuff. Infused oils we talked about. So you could make rosemary oil. You could make a lemon oil. You can buy them too. Like, by all means, buy some of this stuff. Like, I just created an amazing partnership with Oil and Vinegar, and they sent me some amazing oils and flavored vinegars. Like, I have a date bacon balsamic. I have a limoncello extra virgin olive oil. I have a limoncello vinegar, which limoncello is just like this amazing Italian lemon that you can't even get in America, and it's so good. I have a basil olive oil. I have a red onion balsamic that is incredible. Well, you can make all this stuff too. It's so good. So make sure that we're good stewards of our flavor. I don't want you to put any boring food on the plate anymore, people. Like, seriously, like, what is that one seasoning? Like, go slap your mama or something like that. I don't want to say that like, you shouldn't do that. But there's something to like hitting it with the seasoning, tie it in. Like, don't put boring, bland food out there anymore. And like, seriously, when it is really good, it's like, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so good. And you love it, and you get so excited, and people get excited about your food. And that's what you should want to do. And you know why? Because then you're working with your heart, and you're doing it for the glory of God. Like he is pleased by you taking his creation and feeding your friends and family and bringing joy to them. So anyways, this is episode 3. Thank you for joining us. It's 5 secrets that make healthy food taste amazing. Enjoy. Have a great day.